All right. We're out here taking cuttings off of the clump of tubers that I got that was excessively diseased with leafy gall. I'll show you it after I take these cuttings. We'll wash the top of it off and let you see what it looks like now. So I took this first cutting and I thinking to myself, I'm probably just going to leave these outside because my shed's getting way too hot and it gets even lower humidity than it is out here, which is, I'll be right back. Which, you know, it's already only in the teens and 20s, humidity-wise here. This is just plain water with some microgasm biostimulant in it and nothing else. And I have 2 nodes below the surface there, so this should root really fast and easy. I'm going to try to do that with all of these because I'm going to keep them outside, and it gets real windy and hot and whatnot and then cold at night, but I think they'll be fine. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Anyway, so let's take another one here. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if you guys normally do this with dahlias, and I haven't done it before, so don't take this as like some solid advice, but think about it. With cannabis, we chop the tip of that leaf off so that the plant stops putting energy into that leaf and then uses the energy it's stored in that leaf and the compounds to speed the rooting up. Now, you know, like I said, maybe you guys already do that, you know, but we do that in cannabis. So I'm doing it here because I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to give these a better shot because they're just staying outside. Hot, cold, you know. Anyway, but it'll be good data down the road because if these guys withstand that real easy and just root right out, which it seems like everything off this plant roots really fast. I don't think I've lost any cuttings from this one, even in that 100+ degree shed. So anyway, we'll see, because that'll be good stressors on it to see if it tries to revert back into a leafy gall state or anything. So why I grabbed, oh, sorry, I don't multitask all that well, so I keep forgetting where I was going with what I was going to say. But anyway, I thought to myself, maybe I rarely use rooting hormone, but I have some. I just find most plants don't need it. If you get that clone set right, the cutting set right, they just root right out usually. As long as your soil's not too hot, you don't have, you know, a bunch of salt buildup in it or anything. But, you know, there's some nutrition in it. And then getting it good and wet and letting that water run down through. Okay, so I was thinking to myself, maybe I should have used some rooting hormone since I'm going to leave these outside. And I ran and grabbed the rooting hormone, and as I'm grabbing it, I thought to myself, you know, maybe that's not a good idea because, man, that's a nice cutting. I think I'm going to put that in a 1-gallon pot so I can get both those nodes in the soil. Yeah. All right. Now, let's go ahead and put that all the way in. Okay, so back to the rooting hormone issue. I don't know if you guys use rooting hormones. I know a lot of people do. If you have a pretty good, even a decent environment where you're rooting them in, they're really not necessary usually. Most plants will take really easily. Going against the common adage of keeping these things dry. I literally go to runoff when I set these. Drip it a little bit. Let's get a little more runoff. There we go. Okay. And then I let them dry back to almost dry. And with cannabis, you know, I'm not an expert in dahlias like I am in cannabis. But I'm pretty good with most plants. So anyway, with cannabis, that dryback causes the roots to shoot out and fill the pot. Man, these are nice. So the first cuttings I took off of this, the ones that are in the bed with the strawberries and the celery and the lamb's ear, they were not, they weren't as, they were more soft, not rubbery, but kind of soft, and I couldn't just pop them off the tuber without, because I would squish the stalk. So I was a little concerned, you know, maybe they wouldn't take very well or anything, but they weren't fasciated or anything like that. So I went ahead and took them and just used a sharp knife, real sharp knife. I'm cutting these above the soil because I have it in soil now, and I just don't want a whole bunch of open wounds under the soil, if I can help it. Anyway, so back to the rooting hormone. Rooting hormone is indole acid or some analog thereof, which is an auxin. Okay. Guess what? Rhodococcus faciens produces to cause this leafy gall, indole acid. So before I dipped the cutting that came from a leafy galled when I got it, we'll show you guys in a minute. I don't think it has gall anymore at all. Anyway, it's probably not a good idea, especially if you have dealt with leafy gall showing up anywhere in your stuff, to use any kind of rooting hormone on your cuttings, because you're kind of, now there's more factors at play with the bacteria. There's other compounds that are going to be brought into the equation and whatnot. But if the plant doesn't really need the rooting hormone to root, which they don't, I haven't used it on any of them. I just thought I might use it today, and then I thought about it for a second, thought that's a bad idea. Anyway, it's probably not, I haven't even looked to see if there's any studies talking about this, but it's probably not a good idea to use rooting hormone on a plant that's, especially that you brought out of leafy gall expression. We'll see if the PCR shows anything. I found a lab that does PCRs for this, for the leafy gall and other diseases. So anyway, we'll send it off and see what they say. I don't think it'll show up anymore. But something that, reversed, or if you've had it show up, I would stay away from rooting hormones, because that's exactly what they are. They're that same compound that Rhodococcus faciens produces to, there becomes an overabundance of it, and it causes those symptoms. Because the plant has a very delicate balance between cytokinins and auxins. And indole acid is an auxin. And when the interplay is incorrect, you get funky symptoms in the plant. And when it goes, the way that leafy gall goes, where there's way too much auxin and the plant's trying to kick back cytokinins to balance itself and stuff, you get a bunch of weird growth. All right, I need a few more. I'm getting a lot of cuttings off this thing. Sorry about there we go. Okay, sorry, I'm not meaning to drag you guys through. Just having to watch a log video just to see. Feel free if you don't want to stick around for the chatter to just fast forward towards the end. I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to rinse it off and show you guys the clump of tubers. And then in the comments, I'll drop the original picture of this clump when I got it, so you guys don't have to go try to search it out. I foliered these with my Armor foliar spray, and I added some seaweed extract to it. Okay, I need one more at least. No, 3 more. Okay. The soil in my beds is not ideal for rooting plants. It's real good for established plants, or, direct seeding into if you need to, but it doesn't do good in these little pots. It's too heavy, and it doesn't hold the water long enough in these to even get through the day, because I made it pretty well draining soil. Because those beds are deep, and some of them are lined underneath. Not all of them. They all have cardboard in the bottom to kind of keep the water from just falling through the sand, through to the sand below it. Okay. Yeah. Those scissors need to be sharpened. I'm sure that doesn't help. Okay. I'll get these last 2 done, and then I'll show you this clump of tubers. There's no note on that one. Oh, let's stop that leaf. You see my wonderful sanitation techniques. But you can also look across my garden and see there's no disease. So, what gives, right? Terrain. It's all about terrain. All right. Now, oh, here, let me rinse that off. All right. So, shit. You know what? I'm gonna probably take some pictures and post them in the comments. Yeah, that's not working. I forgot I had my camera front facing. I can't flip it once I start recording. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 14. And I've pulled 14 others off of it. So 28. You see them? Yeah. 28 nice cuttings. Oh. All right. So, moral of the story, I probably wouldn't use rooting hormone on dahlias, especially if you're having leafy gall show up anywhere. Or, you know, if you're crazy enough to do something like I did and take this ridiculously leafy galled clump of tubers and see what happens when you put different natural things on it. I don't know if you can see it, can you? There we go. Anyway, there's no fasciation. Everything comes up as nice, proper. Now there's a whole crap load of them. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of those stalks. Nothing's fused. The cauliflower stuff is gone. And it's separating out into separate eyes, eye there, with nothing fused. So, does it look suspect still? Absolutely. And we're going to have a bunch of testing done. Next.